What the fuck is up, Juggalos? This is the Murder Mayhem Show. I'm the host, Mitchell. My top story today, of course, what else could it be besides the Fearless Fred Fury track list? Yes, that was the shit. The Fred Fury track list was released recently. The way they did it was a scavenger hunt across the ICP's social media accounts. Keegan, I believe, had actually mentioned on the Juggalo show pretty recently that there was something awesome coming on the ICP social media accounts, so you should follow them all. I remember he said that because now it makes sense, because they put out videos on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and Snapchat. It was videos of Keegan in straitjacket, looked to be filmed primarily in the psychopathic offices. And it was comedic, Keegan, of course, it's going to be comedic, but they were receiving clues from Fred Fury, they said. There was a folder left on Keegan's desk marked FFF. I'm sure you already know this. If you're listening to the show, then you're one of the internet savvy juggalos, so you will probably already remember that part. But they put out, it turned out what was in that folder was clues from Fred Fury, videos, yada yada, clues that led to a phone number, and then you call the phone number, and it plays this message. You may not have heard this unless you called the number yourself, but I recorded it off of speakerphone, and this is what happened when you called the number.
Congratulations, fuckhead, you made it to the end. Go to www.fredisfearless.com. Bitch.
Sorry, that mailbox is full. Thank you for calling.
So yeah, there you go. Clues from the internet lead to a phone number, which leads to a website. And the website, fredisfearless.com, has the entire track list. Now, I'm sure you already knew all that. Or maybe you don't follow all the social media accounts and don't give a shit, and that was new information for you. But I really think that it was worth giving it the credit it was due and not just blowing past it. Whether you already knew about it or not, it's like, let's give some credit to Keegan in straitjacket for putting that together. Like I said, Keegan had alluded to it on the Juggalo show weeks before, so he didn't just think of this overnight and slap it together overnight. Like, it's funny, it looks good, it's the classic shit, like old school psychopathic treasure hunt type shit, only now there's websites and shit involved, but it's the same thing. A secret phone number, clues, all that shit, just like ICP has always done, particularly in the old school times. And I think Keegan really knows it and gets it, and it's fun. It's so much better than just giving the track list out, just releasing it. That's not cool. So I don't know how decisions like that come down the pipeline. Maybe Billy or ICP or someone up told Keegan, think of a cool way to put this out. Or maybe just it was all Keegan's idea from the ground up. I really don't claim to know how decisions like that are made. But it was definitely worth it anyway. This is the way that shit is supposed to be before a Joker's card, which is how everybody knew that it wasn't coming out on October 26th. And the weeks were coming by and they weren't doing shit like this. That was the red flag of like, okay, something's going on here. This isn't going to be coming out unless it's a complete and total surprise release. But ICP has never done that with the Joker's card. It's always been a crazy build-up like that. So just wanted to give some credit to that thing that they did on the social media. I thought that was pretty cool. So, the track list. Important stuff. I have thoughts on maybe every song. I'm just going to go down the list here. talk about it. I knew when this track list came out that I was going to spend a huge chunk of time on my podcast talking about it. This is the fucking thing to talk about. And not only that, but there is another thing that I really want to talk about after we talk about this track list. And even with that, as much as I want to talk about that coming up, when this track list came out, it was like, okay, this is the thing that I have to talk about first. It is very crucial. Okay, track 1, introduction. No surprise there. That's typical, I think, of every single Joker's card. So, introduction. Track number 2, Red Fred, title track, another important part of a Joker's card. Interesting, a little bit of a twist on it, because the album is called Fearless Fred Fury, yet the title track here is a nickname, Red Fred, as opposed to Fearless Fred Fury. And I remember when the very first references to this Joker's card were starting to trickle out. The very first one, if I do recall correctly, is on Violent J's verse on Shaggy's Fuck the Fuck Off Motherfucker. What is it called? Creeping in the window? You know what I'm talking about. Peeping in the window. What the fuck ever. Fogging up the window. Yep. Violent J's verse says, number 4 is all red, red, Fred, red, Fred. And then he started saying Red Fred on the Juggalo show. He was saying Red Fred in places. They have cemented it now in the track list. I told you we're going deep with this shit. Track by track. Thoughts. Number 3, Fury. Great song. Loved it. Released recently. We've all heard that one by now, unless you're waiting. Could be one of those people that are waiting to not hear the singles until you listen to the CD. If you are one of those people, Fury, great track. I hope that so much on the album sounds like Fury, because that was exactly what the fuck I wanted. Beats, production, hooks, verses, killing it, content, good. Strong fucking track to lead the CD off with, pretty much. Track number 3, but still pretty damn high up the track list. Good one to set the tone, I hope. Track number 4, West Werner Ave. This is one of the track names that was announced on Twitter months and months ago, even before the album got delayed, I think. I don't know. It was some time ago on Twitter that Violent J was spilling out nuggets of info about the album. He dropped about 7 track titles, I believe. One of them was West Werner Ave. I like the sound of it, the sound of the title. It reminds me, it makes me think off the top of my head of the one on Sir Mix-a-Lot, Posse on Werner. You have to bear with me if it takes me a second to remember things right now. This is early in the morning to me. I have a weird work schedule, but I digress. West Werner Ave title makes me think of Posse on Werner, and that song fucking rocks. It's awesome. And if you're going to name a song after one of your old school streets like that, it's probably going to have an old school vibe, so I'm thinking maybe a Carnival of Carnage kind of era sound to that one, West Werner Ave. Number 5, WTF. We all know that one. We all heard that one. The first single, of course. And I'm excited to hear it again in the album. I could listen to it now as a single all I want, all day long. I'm kind of curious to hear how it fits in with the rest of the album, because it certainly doesn't sound like Fury to me. So I wonder if most of the album sounds like WTF or most of it sounds like Fury, because I would rather that most of it sound like Fury, but I do like WTF, and I think it could fit in well, but I'm curious to hear if I'll have a different take on it when I hear it as it's meant to be heard with all the other songs. That's how I think of an ICP album anyway. Number 6, Satellite. Another track that was talked about on ICP's Twitter account, and they said that it was about looking at your problems in your life from a zoomed out perspective. Satellite it. That was how they explained it on Twitter. So that's what that song is going to be about. Number 7, Seriously Hilarious. The song that that comes to my mind when I see that title is the Knock Knock track. Knock Knock. That was on Violent J's unreleased Gathering CD that ended up being The Shining. One of the tracks that didn't make it onto The Shining was Knock Knock. It was also remixed on one of the Mikey Clark Murder Mix albums and was also released, I believe, on ICP's Incredible Collection. All that to say, if you don't know what song I'm talking about when I say Knock Knock, the Fred Fury track, seriously hilarious. I wonder if it's going to be kind of a vibe like that. Number 8, Game Over. Prediction for this track title I bet it'll have some kind of story song to do with being trapped in a video game. I think that's a solid guess because I don't think ICP has made a song about that before, about it being stuck in a video game, and it seems like it's rife for rhymes and shit. There's a lot you could do with that premise, that concept. So anytime ICP thinks of a concept that they actually haven't done before, I imagine they get pretty excited. So that's my guess for that. Game Over. Number 9, Night of Red Rum. Yes, Red Rum, obviously murder spelled backwards, but you got the red in there, the red reference. Red and rum are spread up into 2 words on this track list here, so they definitely are emphasizing the red of it all. Of course, because of Red Fred. Night of Red Rum. This has actually been confirmed via Violent J on JJ's Twitch account that this is indeed part of the Night of the Chainsaw, Night of the 44, Night of the Axe series. Night of Red Rum. Number 10, Low. Song that makes me think of is the Tech 9 song, Low. It probably won't sound anything like that, but it's not a lot to work with there. Low. That's track title. Number 11, Triplex. 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 I don't think I know what this word means. I actually had to look it up after I saw it on the track list, and I still don't really remember. One of the definitions was like a duplex, but with 3 people, or 3 houses. But some of the other definitions I didn't even understand. Shit about molecules and whatnot. Triplex. I don't really know what to make of that one. Number 12, Nobody's Fault. No thoughts about that. No way of knowing. 13, Hothead. Number 14, Shimmer. Could be the possibly upbeat track on the CD, if there is indeed an upbeat track on it. Shimmer. That would be my guess for that. Shimmer, shiny, sparkly, diamondy, that type of shit. Shimmer. When you hear about the shine and whatnot in ICP parlance, it usually has some kind of positivity spin on it. Number 15, Freedom. Track number 15, Freedom. 16, Beware. Beware. Yes, and that's been a big part of the Fred era. Beware. They've been saying it. Even, I believe that the first use of Beware was when they put out that website, deadbeatdadsdie.com. They re-released the Deadbeat Dad song, but they put a website at the end of it, deadbeatdadsdie.com. You would go there and it would say Beware FFF. That was before we even knew the name of the Joker's card. People were calling it Red Fred at that point, I think, but, you know, FFF, what the fuck does that mean? We all asked. Beware, and since then they've been saying Beware a lot. No tracks called Fight Back or 665, though. I guess maybe they covered all that in Fury, but I kind of thought those would all be separate tracks. But we do have Beware. And number 17, the final track. 17 tracks. I Like It Rough. I'm curious what that could mean, because to me it sounds like a sex thing, and I'm sure that it's not, but maybe that's just where my mind goes. I Like It Rough. Seems like a weird title for a song to me. So, 17 tracks in all. No mention of any guests. The only tracks that were mentioned on Twitter that didn't make the final track list, it would seem, are Peekaboo and 1967. Now, Peekaboo, I'll have a lot to say about coming up after this, but that is the Fred Fury track list. Tracks 1 through 17. No going back now. The train has left the station. The shit will come out in just a few fucking weeks. We're only a few weeks away. So, that's pretty beautiful. I told you we were going to do a deep dive on that, and that was just about everything I had to say about the track list. So, the other big thing that happened recently was Shaggy 2 Dope's Gloomy Sunday leaking onto the internet. The EP, yes, the tour, the VIP tour EP from Shaggy 2 Dope. It had not been available on YouTube until recently, and I don't think people at the first tour stops even got it. I think some of the people are having it mailed out to them, so I don't know if that had something to do with it or what, but finally, the homie Romebone at the Beneath the Dirt podcast, you may have seen me collaborate with him before, he went to the Shaggy VIP show, or Shaggy solo show, VIP, in Worcester, I believe, and now it's all over the place. So definitely a shout out to Romebone. As far as I know, he was the first one to put that Gloomy Sunday out for people to listen to. So definitely follow Beneath the Dirt podcast on social media and listen to his shit, because you don't want to miss shit like that. So I heard that Gloomy Sunday EP for the first time recently, as most people did, and I had some thoughts on these tracks as well. There's only 4 of them. It's a 15-minute EP, so just go down the list. Number 1, the first track, Gloomy Sunday. I called this, I don't know if people listening to this here right now remember just recently, a few weeks back maybe, where I was trying to find the Gloomy Sunday EP on Google or YouTube. I was just searching for it. I think YouTube. And I ended up coming down a rabbit hole where I discovered that Gloomy Sunday is some old-ass European song that people used to kill themselves to. I talked about this on the Murder Mayhem show recently. I said perhaps this is the theme of the album. Maybe this is the inspiration. And then the Gloomy Sunday EP comes out with the title track right on it. And it samples that song. And it is all about killing yourself. And it samples that European song to kill yourself to. So I feel pretty good about that, because I don't think anyone else had talked about that or said that or knew about it or said shit about it until I did. So congratulations. If you listen to the Murder Mayhem show, you will hear shit like that totally checks out. So that is a great song too. On top of the fact that I was right about it, it's also just a great song. I love it. Sounds really good. Beat's good. It's dark. Flows are good. Hook is creepy, and it works. So, good stuff. Gloomy Sunday, off to a good start. Number 2, Peekaboo. This is one I feel very strongly about. See, Peekaboo, number 2 on the Gloomy Sunday EP. First, I must mention that it is a cover of MC Ren's Behind the Scenes. MC Ren from NWA back in the day, even after the second NWA CD came out and shit started falling apart, MC Ren stayed on Ruthless Records, did some solo shit, made an awesome EP called Kiss My Black Ass. There's a song on there called Behind the Scenes, and it's so fucking disgusting and awesome. And I knew right away on Shaggy's EP when the beat kicked in on Peekaboo, I was like, this is that fucking MC Ren shit. Hell yeah. It fits ICP perfectly. And this is a track that I can say sounds like old school ICP, because it's a cover of the shit that inspired the old school ICP. So how can it not? It's a great fit. And also interesting, though, is that this is one of the tracks that was announced for Fred Fury back when they were tweeting out some of the track titles. Peekaboo, this was on the list. So we know for a fact that this was a cut track for Fred Fury. It was intended for Fred Fury at one time. Why it did not make it onto Fred Fury, I can't even guess. I mean, I can guess, but that is a great fucking song. So there are tons of samples in it, not only for the samples of the beat, but vocal samples of Eazy-E's voice and MC Ren's voice and Andrew Dice Clay. There's a lot of that in there, whereas the original actually has a lot of Dolomite clips in it. But there's a lot of samples. Maybe that has something to do with the fact of why it's not going to be on Fred Fury. Couldn't clear it or something. But I hope that they didn't just cut it like they didn't think it was good enough or something, because that song is so fucking awesome. Like, if they cut it by choice and not necessity, then, like, seriously, I feel like they better have a good reason for not putting it on the album, because unless there's like 15 better tracks than that on Fred Fury, then there's no excuse. Unless they couldn't do it, unless it was a sample thing or some shit like that. It could also be the case that they thought it was just too ruthless. No ruthless pun intended. But it really is a truly disgusting song. Both the original and Shaggy's version. Very gross and awesome. If you haven't but it sounds like fucking some ICP shit. So, don't know why it was cut. We do know it was intended for Fred Fury at one time. I love it. Check that out if you've been sleeping on the EP at least. Track number 3, Dunno. Don't like this song. Bad hook. To me, this sounds like experienced horrorcore artist somehow regressing to the state of horrorcore opening act. So, can't say that I love that one. And track number 4, Techniques and Tactics. Didn't like this at all. It has Violent J on it, as well as Project Born, I believe. And they're fine on it, whatever. But since it has Violent J on it, I have to wonder if perhaps this was a cut track from Fred Fury as well. God, I hope not, because I do not like this song at all. Techniques and Tactics, not good for me. Was not into it. Bad hook. Lazy verses. I hate that shit when they take a line and repeat it and get another bar out of it. It's like, you can't do that for fucking every line in a song. It's corny. If you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to Techniques and Tactics or the Neighbors Are Fighting on The Missing Link, where they just take a line and repeat it 3 times and then give you one rhyme. It's like, come on. You can't do that for every fucking line. So, Gloomy Sunday EP, 4 tracks overall. 1 I liked, 1 I fucking loved, 1 I did not like, and 1 I also really did not like. The Don't Know one is okay, but just seemed a little bush league compared to Peekaboo, which is fucking 10 out of 10 stars. That's my shit. I love the funny ICP shit. Shaggy better have some fucking heat on Fearless Fred Fury if he's got that Peekaboo track in the can and they're not going to use it unless they couldn't for sampling. Tracklist didn't appear to show any cover songs, so that would have been a reason to cut it, like if they had another cover song that they wanted to use instead. Although, maybe there is a cover song on that track list, because Peekaboo, the original song by MC Ren, is called Behind the Scenes, and they changed the name. So, who knows if one of those tracks on the track list is a cover? I don't know. That could be a reason as well. So, we'll just have to see when the album comes out. Or maybe it'll be on Flip the Rat. You never know. Sometimes they put songs on more than one CD, so could be on Flip. So, one more story. I wanted to close on some other music news here. This is a weird story I just kind of accidentally came across, but I think you'll want to know about it. This comes from Deadline.com. It's written on January 28th. It says, Wu-Tang's RZA and Ghostface Killah team for Angel of Dust as clans of Mike's and Men's. Okay, that's a fucked up headline. That's confusing. I'll just tell you what it is. RZA and Ghostface Killah are creating a horror movie called Angel of Dust. So let me read from the article here. It's pretty long, so I'll pick and choose. It says, the Wu-Tang Clan's Ghostface Killah and RZA and Sean Reddick of Impossible Dream Entertainment will produce Angel of Dust, a suspense horror thriller that Wu-Tang leader RZA will direct. The pick is inspired by true stories that happened around the hood to members of the global iconic rap group when they were growing up in and around the Staten Island projects. A series of bizarre and horrifying events shaped their mindsets to launch the Wu-Tang Clan to become a worldwide music powerhouse. The story was created by Wu-Tang member Ghostface Killah and longtime manager Caruso. Script is by some random people that I don't know. So, anyway, point is, RZA and Ghostface have concocted a horror movie that Ghostface came up with the story of, and that RZA will be directing, and that they will both be producing on, as well as some other people producing and writing. But it's called Angel of Dust, and they say there that it's inspired by real things that happened to them, whatever. So I don't know, because I don't know what the fuck the movie is about. They talk about it a little bit later. Let's see here. Here's a little brief description that was given. It says, Casey is a normal yet exceptionally smart teenager and talented rapper, but after the mysterious death of his parents, he's been forced to grow up in New York's roughest inner-city streets, known as Shaolin, basically on his own. As life in the hood around him gets tragically worse, he must put his skills to the test to survive not only the gangs, corrupt cops, junkies, and bullies, but a serial killer with seemingly supernatural powers dubbed Angel of Dust by the media. Now, I don't think it's a stretch to say that this Angel of Dust monster is some kind of representative for Angel Dust, PCP. We're talking about gangs, junkies, bullies, corrupt cops. It feels like there's probably more to it than a simple supernatural monster there, but either way, that's fucking fascinating. Sounds cool to me. Caught my eye. Thought maybe you would want to hear about that. Wu-Tang, RZA and Ghostface Killah, Angel of Dust, the horror movie coming. I have no idea when, but sounds good. So, on that note, I think that just about does it for this episode of the Murder Mayhem Show. Got some notes here. Always finish up with the notes. Let's see, you can follow all the social media accounts from murdermayhemshow.com. Just go to murdermayhemshow.com. That's where you'll find Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. And as I'm saying this, I realize I need to add Instagram onto the website because I now have a new Instagram. That is a new thing, Instagram.com/murdermayhemshow. Catch random pics of shit there. But I guess that does it for this episode of the Murder Mayhem Show. Until next time,